Peace. What is up, guys? What's up? Yeah, so I welcome to the channel. I know it's been a while. I know I probably look different. But it's Monica. It's just me. It's Monica, the Ethereans and blah blah. How y'all blooming today? I just came here to talk, just kind of talk about what's been going on with me. For like the last, I guess, since the beginning of the year. Yeah, cause I'm not really okay, but like I'm good, you know. It's I'm really making this video because I've come to the realization that I don't really have anybody to genuinely talk to genuinely like express honest communication, just be open about, like, without any judgment or without anybody feeling the type of way or getting mad at me or isolating me or abandoning me, ghost, like whatever it is. Like, and I've thought about going the therapy route, but I just only think that going therapy, or I mean, I haven't delved much into it, but my intuition about it is finding somebody who is really truly gonna understand my weird ass and my perspective on not just what I'm going through, but in life in general. Because I'm way out of the box and just way, my thinking is just way out there. So, yeah, it's just been my experience over and it could be the energy too, right? Because we are entering into some retrogrades. This Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, P shadow, which is crazy right now, okay? But we're gonna get into that. But just getting into like, it just kind of feels like this is a weird time. Like I'm being challenged, tested, trying to really just understand where I am and like what's really happening, right? Trying to understand like what is really happening in the 3D, like what's happening in the spiritual and why it's showing up in the 3D the way it is, right? Because it's coming to a time where like things are coming back around, and I feel like that's obviously like retrograde energy, but things are circling back around, and the energy is kind of like trying to understand my position in correlation to other people and like my position in their life, right? Just really trying to understand how I'm supposed to be showing up for people and how they are authentically and genuinely reciprocally showing up for me in return, right? And I'm just finding it very difficult to trust people, and it's very resistant in trying to. It's just been my experience that it's just been really hard to trust. And Scorpios have trust issues already, and because we're very secretive and we are very, because we often get access to hidden knowledge or forbidden knowledge easily, whether that is it through the physical or like through psychic type visions, intuition and stuff. Like it's very hard for me to genuinely talk to people, because if I do express myself, and that's another reason why I'm like real quiet, because if I do express myself, like it's gonna come out real otherworldly. It's gonna come out real authentic. It's like, it's really how I feel, it's really how I think, it's really how I see the world. And it's like, I don't know, it's very, I only met one individual who, on some not bandwagon type, thinks the way I do, like almost down to a core, in principles and values, in knowing the root of who and where you are. And I don't know, who I can genuinely have conversations with and get the real blunt truth, or just like, just express myself in the, and not be seen like weird or judged, right? Um, so yeah, I've just had some experiences where recently, where I've been like, 'cause I've been working my ass off, right? Like, I've been running my business um for, I guess, going on 2 years now, or if it's already not 2 years since I've um left working for somebody and just been working on my own. I've been on my own boss, running my own time, my own schedule, and I've evolved quite a ways where I'm now from where I was. And I just kind of look, I'm looking back again with this recycling of this energy coming back around, because it's they told us something about the Ouroboros, right? The snake eating its own tail. The infinite cycle of things are always going to come back. There is no, the beginning is the end, right? So you're just where you started, where you start is where you're going to end, or just the ultimate principle of going back to source, right? Getting back to source. But that's just, there's things coming around where, like, and I'm just thinking of where I was back, even like since 2020, right? Because it's like everybody's world, like, that's when, like, the noticeable pinpoint of when everybody's life kind of dramatically shifted and changed, and you started to really see people, places, things for what they were, like down to the minute, to the infallible, infallible. I don't know if I can say that, but just kind of really seeing your life and seeing how like how it's kind of transformed, like where you were versus where you are, where you were versus where you are now, and in the reverse, right? So based off of 2020 and just kind of where I am now, like, I've lost, like, even getting to where I was before 2020, like, I've lost everything. Like, I've had to throw away everything, go without, like moving from one state clear across the country to another state, okay? And being willing to give all that up. Like, I'm not a stranger to sacrifice, because my ability to gain or to tap into my resources or activate those plans, those, just to act on it, all right, and go for what it is that you want, has allowed me to ultimately just get it back, all right, and get it back in multitude and be able to multiply it. And I just feel like, I mean, first of all, that's basic woman, black woman DNA. Like, if a woman is not able to take something and manifest it times 10, like, first of all, what is she like? If she's not able to take something in, even in her own aspect, if she isn't able to plant something and grow it, possibly lose it, and then be able to plant it again and multiply, it's like, well, what you doing, sis? You know? So just being able to tap into that divine feminine power, that divine feminine energy, I do it. It's a practice, it's a daily practice, an intentional thing, right? But it also comes naturally. And it comes naturally because of this reincarnation cycle that I am positive that I've been on for quite some time. Okay. And I'm making a contract right now, before we even get into the hall, right? before we get there, I don't want to come back here. Like, this is the last time. I don't want to do this anymore. Huh? This life, it's weird. So yeah, let me experience what I gotta experience and accomplish what I need to accomplish, leave behind. Whatever reason that I'm here, let that be. And the time that I had, let it be what it is, because after that, I'm please. I'm done. Okay. I'd like to go somewhere else. You can send me off to some other dimension. That'd be cool. Yeah. I'll take that. But not Earth. Nope. Nope. So yeah, I just basically what has happened to me over the last couple of months, right? And is majority stemmed from and because this keeps coming back around, the choice I'm gonna take accountability for the choices that I have made over the course of the last couple of months, the decisions that I have made to place boundaries with people. And that was a revelation I had this morning. It's like, it's weirdly odd. Like I feel, it may not be my reality, but I feel like I'm being punished for having boundaries with other people, for enforcing my boundaries, for stepping into my power, and like just really being honest with myself, and just being okay with like putting up a wall with people, and being okay with letting people go who are just not really, who are not balancing the scales, who are not keeping the scales balanced. And the reciprocity, my Venus is in Libra. My love language is balance and reciprocity, and it's just as simple as that. My love language is my acts. All right, righteousness, you gotta do right, like law and justice and truthfulness. Okay, like that is my love language, and it's just hard to be truthful. It's hard to find that somebody you can be really truthful with and you can open up to, and who isn't going to tell your secrets. And it's like, I've been running into that problem with friends. Like, I've been running into that problem. Like, my friendships are zero. I don't want to say my relationships. My relationships in community to other people. My community is very scarce, and it's because I'm a single child to a single mother, and I I don't have no I don't have really a network. At least I feel like I don't have a network, or I wasn't taught. It didn't come naturally. Most people don't like grow up with a network of people unwillingly, and thus that translates into your future being able to socialize, I guess, with other people. I didn't have that. A lot of the shit I taught myself. I taught my own, like, and I was going to say this earlier, a lot of it is father wound issues or masculine wound issues. The fact that I don't have any males in my life, and I feel like men be sniffing that shit out and easily trying to take advantage of me, because to not have anybody, right? To not really have anybody. I would say that's a weakness. I would definitely say that's a weakness, and I try to, and that's a part of the strength. That's part of that sex energy, because I'm like, I have to embody boundaries, because my me being naive is dangerous, right? Me being unaware, not being able to see and then thus listen to the body language and the cues and the subconscious of other people's and the intentions of other people's is what can get me, and what has gotten me in trouble. So yeah, and that's another thing I was going to say with the with the wounds that I have, the friendship wound. I had a friendship wound, my ability to socialize, right? Um, um, it's me being really awkward and weird, and my environment that I grew up in, not social, not being able to easily communicate with people. All right. Um, I think once I do make friends, I make really close, like I make close friends, but because I feel like I'm very calming, nurturing nature, and people are easily attracted to that and just are naturally attracted to me. But longevity, and I recently learned that this has a lot to do with my Saturn placement, the fact that my Saturn is in Aquarius. Um, that is going to vary. That placement, I mean, I can't do nothing about it. It's a very sad placement, actually, because like Aquarius rules friend groups and collective and social circles, right? And Saturn, oh, hold on. All right, yeah, so then we was talking about my Saturn Aquarius placement, it just being a placement where I'm going to naturally have, where I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be acknowledged for my accomplishments by my friends, or so I'm going to feel like I'm not, um, not as accepted as far as, being seen, or my intellectual property, or being given my flowers as much as I should be. These placements are kind of, where you're just gonna, because Saturn is kind of like that contradictory, placement. It's gonna challenge you. It's gonna be a challenge. It's basically challenging you in your friend groups, and you're not going to, very early in your earlier life, you're going to be you're going to have challenges with friends, and later on in life, those are going to change. All right, let's just put it that way. So, with that being said, my challenges with my friends and my social circles, what I have recently, I encountered a situation where some things from my past have cycled back around. All right, where a situation that was, if I didn't take a step back and really look at the situation or vent out the situation in my journal, like maybe not even have realized that it was a pattern, right? Oh, shit. So, something that happened where a situation with a friend, or a friend that I was getting back to know, and this whole situation with me, again, trying to open up to people, and it kind of coming back to bite me in the butt, right? So here I am trying to develop or redevelop a friendship, a sisterhood with this woman that I've known before in the past, right? And being around and getting advice, getting very beautiful advice, and supporting her, and genuinely, authentically being healed in the space, and wanting to do whatever I could to elevate that, what she was doing, that cause, that mission, what she was doing, because she was doing some stuff that I could really get behind, right? Where I could relate, where I can get behind this. Like that's me. This is all the stuff that I do, like literally. So I want to be here. I want to support this, right? So in the midst of, over a span of a few months, we're going out to lunch, eating business plans and stuff, like going over business ideas and stuff, right? And I start to open up to her about what I have been going through those last couple of months, right? And the kind of trauma that I have been dealing with since 2020 in my relationships, as far as men that I have been dealing with, right? And the decisions that I had made with these men, and the also knowing the consequences of such decisions and choosing to do it anyway, right? And just really getting some really good advice from her, and just really thinking that we were building something genuine. Now, in the midst of going to these different events and stuff at her place, I come across a guy. I come across a man, a very grown man. All right, now remember I said that my ability to manifest be on point, right? Um, it comes naturally at this point in my life. Um, but I come across a man who I see as very beneficial to my journey, who I see as very in alignment. Oddly, weirdly, it was crazy. I don't want to say crazy because divinely, it seemed very divinely in alignment for this stranger to meet this stranger who feels very familiar, who kind of is giving all the vibes, who I can't really figure out, but who allowed me to kind of see some stuff about other people, about other things, right? To kind of for other people to kind of reveal themselves. He was a catalyst for me to kind of one, not only see what I was allowing another man to get away with, essentially, how I was lowering my standards for such, and just really seeing, giving me perspective on a man's ability to actually genuinely communicate. Let's just put it at that. So communicate, because that was the issue, right? So in the midst of that, there's a there's a connection. There is chemistry, right? And this is another lesson that I am kind of circling back around to kind of unpack, right? In trying to understand where the vibes were or were not going, there was an obvious attraction, right? So me and we had a couple initial conversations, and I told this individual that there were some things that I was trying to do differently. I was just really honest about where I was in my journey, right? And long story short, we were intimate. We were intimate a couple of times, and going back to this friend who I was supporting, right? She got I go to her and trying to ask questions, get a little bit more info on this guy, all right, that she has around. She keeps bringing around, all right, who I'm seeing, but I don't really know what I'm seeing. So since she knows this this guy, since he's a friend of a friend, let me see. Can you vouch? Do you not? What's up? So I go and I have a conversation with her, and Now, mind you, like I said, we've had previous conversations. I've opened up to her before about stuff that I was going through with other guys, okay? Now, when it came to this guy, when I opened up to her and I asked her, so tell me about this guy. What do you know? All right. And she proceeds to tell me how they met, their interaction, her experience with him, and how their relationship or was, and how it transitioned to where it is. And there was no inclination of, like, in retrospect, the pre-situation that happened to that, there was, but in our conversation of me asking for some more information about this guy, like, so tell me what's the real, like, what you know about this guy, right? She tells me, but it's like, it's nothing good, right? It's nothing. Her experience with the guy was not good, but she was still keeping him around. Like, they were still friends, and that was just it. Friends. They were friends. So when I initially asked her the question, she immediately avoided it. She went outside and she went to go talk to said guy, right? And when she came back in, she didn't pick right back up where she left off, and I should have picked up. On that, because she was weird. When I asked, I was like, so you just avoiding the question, or what's up? So she's like, no, I'm not avoiding the question. She's supposed to tell me what it is. She told me her bad experience with the guy. So, and that's me. So after she finished telling me about the guy, she says, I start to say, my experience with him, right? And how we just been talking, we're trying to, figure each other out, trying to figure out where the lines are, if we like each other, or if we're just trying to do business, or like where this really is, if we're trying to figure it out, right? And I'm telling her, like, the situation is weird for me because it's, again, like I said, he comes very divinely in alignment with a lot of the stuff that I have going on, and his energy towards me, the fact that I felt like he sees me and he immediately saw, like, the vision, or we have a mutual vision as well, like, and the way we see ourselves, it was just kind of weird. And me trying to, oh yeah, that was okay. Me, I initially said, like, you intimidate me, but I'm kind of attracted to that, because I'm usually the one who intimidates other people, right? So I was kind of intrigued. I was more curious than anything, right? So, and thus the conversation with the girlfriend that I'm trying to rebuild a friendship with, I get to explain it to her, my encounters with the guy, and just my experience with it, and how initially it was weird, and he was giving me this energy like he genuinely liked me, and she agreed, like, well, it don't sound weird, but then it was a complete 180. The energy was a complete 180 when I was like, all right, well, this is what's throwing me off a little bit, like, because I can't tell if the guy, he started to pull back a little bit, like, just a little bit, and like, we're still talking, he's still calling me up, blah, 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 but it's like, are you pulling back because you actually are catching feelings, or just because you're a player? And again, me not having the best relationship with men, or being able to pick up the cues on in life, street, like, game, whatever, like, oh Lord, not me trying to do my glasses, like, it's just I wanted to get advice from a friend, from a sister, right? So here, and again, here I am, thinking I'm in a safe space, thinking I have someone that I can finally be open to, because, mind you, in our previous conversations, I was very open. Not to only was I open to her about my relationships with men, but how I literally just lost my best friend of 15 years. I broke up with her too because she decided to go like disrespect out of me. And I'm not had like boundaries with everybody. And again, it's like I'm being punished for strong boundaries because she went out, she said some disrespectful ish out her side of her neck when her son called me looking for her. But that's a whole, we can get into that. So back to the current situation, right? So mind you, I'm opening up to her about the situation. I'm thinking this is a safe space. I'm thinking I'm safe to express myself. And this is right here. Like, this is between me and you, girl. Like, we've been talking. We've been kicking it. The energy's cool. I feel some slight weirdness, shady, jealous energy when I come up in this place. But it didn't feel like it was coming from her, right? So I guess to open her up to her and be like, oh, well, okay, so the situation is weird because he started pulling his energy back after we've already been intimate a couple of times. And after I told her that part, like, she was really, really upset. She was really upset. She was really mad. And then she tried to deny that she was mad. I was like, girl, you obviously are upset. And I immediately felt bad because I felt her energy. She was like, the whole time she was telling me she was all ducked behind the thing. So I was kind of picking up on stuff, but I wasn't seeing it. But I was there for a mission. Like, I need answers about this guy, okay? I need to know. Because I'm not about to do this again. I just got out of a situation where it was very traumatic and the nigga tried to take advantage of me. And I just don't want to do that anymore. And the consequences, and because I'm already in the midst of paying for the consequences of my choices with that particular individual. So I'm very like, whoa. What is this? Suspicious. Who is this? Who is this? Why is he here? And I feel like that might be a little part of self-sabotage, but like, I'm just looking at this guy like, who are you? Like, why? Who, what, where, when, why are you here? What do you want with me? Like, and I was like, I just want to know, like, after the fact, ex intentions and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's just been, it was really weird. It was really weird because I felt like I didn't want to cause any tension, any friction in their relationship. They had already been on the outing of a relationship. So I didn't really want to be the cause of that. And I felt really hurt by the whole situation. Hold on. So yeah, I was hurt that I hurt her in some type of way, and I was hurt because, I thought I just caused a lot of friction between people that I did not mean to, and I ended up losing a friend again, back to back. All right, and then this brings me back to the beginning of this whole story, right? And this whole situation circling back around, because this isn't the first time. This isn't the first time that I've been isolated or I've been abandoned or somebody was mad at me, or particularly a woman or a friend has been mad at me because the guy that she likes me, and I like him too. And it happened to me in middle school with my best friend. I kissed the guy that she liked. Well, the guy kissed me, but I kissed him back. Okay. He was cute. I'm so sorry, girl. He was so cute. And the guy it happened to me in high school when he was dancing for the girls. He was practicing rehearsing for the girls' quinceañera. And they found out that I slept with one of the girls' dudes. They was not together at the time, mind you, though. But they was mad at me. He was mad at me. She was mad at me, so they was all mad at me. And they all isolated me. Some crazy shit. Like, again, why y'all mad at me? Because your fine ass man like me. Excuse me. Because it wasn't your man, but your ex-man or your crush or whoever. It's feeling like I have nothing to do with that. Like, that's not my problem. And not to justify it, but in order to understand where this energy is coming from, because I feel like I'm such a reincarnate of this lifetime. Where is this energy coming from? Where is this ancient energy coming from? And because I know I'm not alone. And since y'all tell me all the time that I'm not alone, so where's this coming from? And I went and did a little bit of research, and one goddess that I found was Qadesh. Qadesh was known as the mistress of the gods, and she was associated with men, and oh gosh, I can't remember the other god, but she I can't remember her story in particular, but it was something about how she was in charge, or she was a prostitute, and back then prostitutes were very divine. They weren't sluts selling their body. They did have sex with men, but it was a very divine act, like that. It was about more about the divine union, the sacred act of sex and the sacred sexuality, more than it was about pimping somebody out or being holed out. Okay, so mistress energy, because I feel like in my journey, I feel very like I've become this mistress fantasy for men, and just not really like the commitment. I haven't been able to get grounded commitment from men, and I don't know if that's again my energy. If I will know I take some accountability in that, and based off of my chart and who I am as an individual. Okay, but I also feel like it has heavy to do with my father wound, right? And my friend wounds, my community wounds, right? And my ability to maintain long-term relationships with people, right? So this is all very interesting, because these cycles are coming around. These cycles are allowing me to give the more that they come around. It's each time that certain things come around, or I'm being tested, right? Like when I get to the beginning, only to circle around to the end. When I get to the end, only to circle around to the beginning, or however, right? Like just be like, you're at the top, and then it's at the bottom, at the exact parallel, right? Because everything always happens. Everything that's bad happening to you is also good happening to you, and vice versa, right? So at the bottom, and looking at the perspective, right, it's just like, all right, based on last time, what have we learned? How, like, well, first, how did we get here again? All right, and then what did we learn so that we don't get here again? And then it's like, well, that's where the boundaries come in, and that's where your confidence in who you are, and what's good for you and what brings you peace. And it's like we end up isolating everybody out and just chopping everybody off the block, burning the whole damn bridge down, because it's hard. Here we are, back to the beginning of this video, right? It's hard to trust people, and it's hard for me to really relate to stuff. And I feel like people just kind of count me out, or because I'm quiet, and I feel like people don't take me serious until I make them take me serious, and then they're mad because I was like, I'm gonna demand that you take me serious. It's like, well, what do you want from me? It's like you pretend like you don't hear me, you pretend like you don't see me. So as much as I try to blend in because I stand out, it's like that's the wounded inner child of me that has taught myself to blend in so that you don't stand out, so that you don't draw too much attention to yourself, so that people don't think that you're just a pretty face, or like you're not important, or you don't have something to say, right? Like, I know I'm weird. I know I'm bad at holding conversations. I know I'm socially awkward. But I do have something to say. Like, I'm very smart. Right? I love words. I love words. I love words. I love to write. That's the Deshfuti All right, that's Big Dash Houthi. Very has Big Dash Houthi energy. Really his counterpart, Seshat, right? The leopardess goddess, all right, Seshat. I have a lot of cat-like um, ancient ancestry, and yeah, it's just this is where we are. All right. And basically, getting kind of back to the cycles, right? And the retrogrades, and me understanding why things are happening the way that they're happening. So today is 8/19, I think. Um, and 2 days ago, my Kia got broken into for the second time. Now, it felt very personal, like more personal than the first time. And it's just weird. It was weird. It was weird. And as I'm looking at the date and as I'm filing the insurance claim, I'm like, this was literally the same exact time 3 months ago. All right, y'all know Mercury goes retrograde every 3 months or something like that. All right, so or 6 months. So the last time, it had to be 3 to 6 months. So the last time that this happened, right? So it's happened 2 days ago, 8/16, right? The last time that this happened was May. The last the last retrograde was March. I think it was March to May. All right, and this one is August to September. So literally the last time it happened, it was I filed my claim February 19th. I think it was in February. So anyway, all around the time of the Mercury retrograde, okay? Is what I'm saying. This thing is cycling back around. And this, I've already I already wanted to let this card go. This time, like deuces, I don't come back into my life. Please. I'm letting this card go. I don't want to see it again. It's just very violating. It's just very, to feel like, to know that you're being watched, to know that you're like, people are in your shit. Like when you are really just out here busting your ass and hustling, and to know that people are just trying to keep you down or keep you from getting ahead, like, and like just trying to take what little bit you've worked so hard for. It's really disheartening, and it's really annoying, because it's like, you know, like people are mad at me for just working hard, you know. It's like, I'm telling myself, like, this is not your fault. This is not your fault. You know, you have your right to feel the way that you feel. But, like, again, this is not your fault. Like, I specifically moved so that this wouldn't happen to me again. And it's like, all right, so at this point, it's not me. It's not where I live. It's obviously the car. So it has to go. And I'm telling myself, like, it's not you. It's not you. But it's hard to not internalize that, because it's like, again, let's take inventory. Let's take a calculation of my actions over the past couple of months. Like, how did we get here again? Why is the situation happening again? It's not you. You know, you can't necessarily take it personal, but there has to be some type of karmic balance, right? There has to be some type of debt, some type of karmic debt that's being worked out, or that is in play here. So with this card situation, I am again trying not to internalize it, but I'm realizing that, you know, I need help. It's hard for me to ask for help. I don't really ask for help. Because one, I hate when people say no, that they can't help. That's their right. But it's like, well, I just rather would have not helped you. Or when I do ask for help, when I'm vulnerable enough to, when I do ask for help, I feel like I'm in a very vulnerable state. And if I'm at my most vulnerable when I'm asking for help, I'm most likely to be taken advantage of. And again, that's some shit that I don't like. That's some shit that boundaries. I need to be able to see who and what is coming. Because I'm not trying to keep going down this road. I'm not trying to keep going down these cycles of being taken advantage of. Because my emotional capacity is very high. I'm very empathic, like body language, eyes, social like cues. Because I'm not a big talker, I look at body language. I look at your eyes. I see, because that'll really tell me more than what you're saying. Like what you're saying, you're probably thinking about it. Your body language is subconscious. Your eyes are subconscious. They will tell you what you need to know. So here we are, just trying to find the center, find the peace. It's been really hard, The last year, I did homeschooling and it was really, really rough. This year, we're gonna try it again. But at the same time, try to maintain a business. At the same time, I'm trying to pivot and expand the business. But again, encountering not knowing who I can trust, not knowing what people's real intentions are, and if they plan to take advantage of me, and just being honestly like being very fearful, just being scared that I'm gonna keep making, I don't want to say keep making the wrong choices, but because I don't feel like I don't make a choice without thinking of, I don't know. I move intentionally, so I always think about the possibilities of what could go wrong, and I tend to ignore some stuff, but I'm also very confidently in myself learning, like, you're getting older. You have a lot to offer. You are not like a lot of these women out here. And I know a lot of women say that, but it's like, for real. Like, just the way that you see things, and it doesn't make you better than anybody. Like, honestly, I'm so grateful every day because there's always something, a reminder, like, and the fact that I have lost things, and the fact that people always are taking things, or feel like, I don't deserve my flowers for the things that I put out, or for the energy that I put out, or that I don't deserve the support, or that, I don't deserve to be checked on, that I'm just strong all the time because I have these tendencies about me, or I have these boundaries about me, right? And it's just hard to get to balance it all out and get it all at a centered kind of place. So yeah. I think that's all I really want to talk about. That's kind of what's been going on with me. I did comb out my locks as a rebellious act. I feel like my energy, my aesthetic can be is often kind of mimicked, but again, without my flowers, okay? Without anybody actually acknowledging. That was another hurtful thing with my best friend. It's like, here you are trying to subtly do all the things that I do, or do the things that I'm into, and subtly talking like me, and subtly looking like me. Just with a lot of, I see it with when I start to get close to certain females, but I don't see my flowers. I don't necessarily see the support. But It's like I do. It's like I do and I don't, but more so don't. So yeah. That's all that I really wanted to talk about. That's really all I have to say. Thanks for chatting it up with me. This was really just my personal therapy session. Just really need to talk. Really need to talk to somebody without feeling like I'm gonna get my head cut off or being judged. And then it's a matter of finding somebody who's willing to listen, right? Okay, so that's all. Thank you guys for sticking around. I hope y'all are doing well, much better. Take heed of the energies of the planets, especially right now. Things are very, very, very weird, especially with this pre-shadow. There's a lot of argue or like loud voices, anger, frustration. There's gonna be heavy frustration. Because yeah, Mercury is about to do a thing. So, peace, ascension. Y'all have a good one.